So it's time to have a divorce from Nintendo. With everything that they are currently doing, it's absolute trash. I cannot believe how bad of a company this has got. And then also a disclaimer. So Papa is a massive Nintendo fan, and I can't promise there won't be any vulgar language. So this is just be warned because this might get extremely heated.
I swear to God, bro, I'm about to shit on Mario fans, man. Oh my God. Listen, it's a very sad day today. I woke up. I was already I was already not having a lot of the shit that Nintendo was doing, and this has been a culmination of things that just in the big 2025, it feels like this is the year that Nintendo is going to take every single opportunity to piss me the fuck off and take a shit on its fan base. And the worst part is that you have people that will defend this. You have people that will still support Nintendo because of this. I'm not gonna lie, I came so close to having a massive crash out over this. And it's not even just because of what was recently announced with the patent shit. It's everything that we've had to deal with for the past decade plus. What happened to Nintendo? Honestly, I have to ask that question. What happened? This company went from one that was trying to create a community of fun experiences that was available to everybody, and it turned into a cash cow. They went from trying to create memorable games to weaponizing people's nostalgia and love for franchises. And listen, right? I don't care if you think that some of the Nintendo games that's come out as of recent were good. It doesn't change the underlying issue that Nintendo has consistently disrespected you and your cash money.
That's one thing I hate about companies that target nostalgia, because everyone will want to buy into it, which is disgusting. And the thing is, Nintendo is a massive company. Why are they looking to do this type of nonsense to bring in a lot more money? They are a huge company with a loyal fan base. I don't understand why they are doing this.
And I just want to say, I really don't care if you think that Nintendo's had some good releases, right? Here and there. Maybe some of the games have been fun. I really don't care. The fact of the matter is, Nintendo has become a massive corporation that is not shy to metaphorically and literally tell you to go F yourself and give us your money. Because we know you want this. We know you need this. Because we know you can't get it anywhere else. To be honest, the only thing that's more overpowered than Nintendo's ability to just weaponize nostalgia is their legal team. Because I will tell you, I've never seen a gaming company with so much corporate control over its IP that it actually manages to gatekeep the community from creativity in a creative space. Video game development. How do you do that and get away with it? It doesn't matter if Nintendo releases a good game here and there. They went from a corporation that was trying to make an accessible platform for all ages to have memorable experiences to now you're paying $450, $50 less than a PS5, by the way, for a console that gives you a game that looks like Pokemon ZA. What are we doing? I'm gonna try not to swear. What are we doing here? Pokemon ZA looks like shit. I've played and completed every single Pokemon game. Scarlet and Violet was the first one I just dropped. And I completed all the mystery dungeons too. All the way to Super Mystery Dungeon. I've played all of them. When I played Scarlet and Violet, I don't think I've ever had more than Sword and Shield, more than Sun and Moon even. I've never had such an unpleasant experience playing a Pokemon game where everything felt meaningless. Everything felt disjointed. Everything felt like it was trying to be something and failed at it catastrophically. I played literally until I got King Gambit, and then I quit. I just couldn't anymore. The bugs, the terrible graphics, even the region itself, I just wasn't a fan of it at all. They had all all of this, all of these elements that just, for me, this was the open world Pokemon game, and yet you're a school kid that's doing a scavenger hunt. It took away the sense of a journey. The bosses were terrible and boring. The only good thing about this game was literally the quest to cure Arvin's Mabostiff. Literally, that had a little bit of soul in it. I hated the gyms. The Elite Four did not feel like an Elite Four at all. I don't even know how to feel about Gita the Champion. That shit just pissed me off so much. How can we have after Leon, you're gonna follow up with this? The most forgettable champion? The rivals? If you could call that really a rival, it just looked like a rapid fangirl that was chasing after you all the time. I cannot express the fact that for some reason, Koraidon and Miraidon was a big reason why I wanted to play this game. And the fact that you had Miraidon and he was an exclusively ride Pokemon. And it's the only Pokemon you could ride out of everything. Y'all brought Go-Goat back. Y'all brought him back and you did nothing with him. You had this feature in Legends Arceus where you could mount different Pokemon and ride onto them for different terrain. You just decided, let's just release one Pokemon that does everything. And then you feel like you don't really get to form a connection with it because you can't use it in battle.
I don't know much about Nintendo games, but that seriously sounds like it's really underdeveloped, undervalued, and just a waste of time to actually input. It sounds like they had so much potential with that.
And it's not like Pokemon has been on a sudden decline as of now, the big year 20. I mean, it's been a massive decline in quality ever since the end of Black and White era, I believe. Ever since they transitioned to this 3D style, it's been a downward spiral. Every single region has this weird gimmick that transfers. X and Y came out, had Mega Evolution. You fight 3 people in the main story with Mega Evolution. That's it. Well, I love Mega Evolution, but it was such a failed concept. And don't even get me started on the new Mega Evolutions they've been revealing up until now. For God's sakes, Mega Victory Bell looks like a used condom. I won't talk about anything that hasn't been confirmed yet, but Mega Dragonite was the biggest disappointment of this year, just design-wise. I've been waiting for Mega Dragonite ever since 2014, guys. That's 11 years ago. I've been waiting for Mega Dragonite, and this is what I get after waiting 11 years for it. I don't think a lot of people realize just how long a lot of us has been waiting for new Mega Evolutions, and for us to get this after 11 years, having terrestrialization, which is a very lazy looking mechanic, by the way, or gimmick, I should say. Gigantamax, which was pretty cool, but barely any Pokemon actually had it. The only other version was Dynamax, which is just a bigger version of the exact same design. And then before that, we had Z moves, which is basically ultimate attacks. We've been waiting so long for this, and this is what we get. And I don't want to sound like I'm just hating for the sake of hating. I've been playing Nintendo games ever since the Crystal, Yellow, Red, Blue era. Black, the Pokemon didn't even have color. That was when I got introduced to Pokemon. I've been playing that shit all my life. I've never liked Mario. I've tried giving different Mario games a try. I just cannot get into it. And to be honest, a lot of people that really love Mario are really cringe. And so I'm kind of glad to not be associated with that side of the community. I'm sorry, Mario just does not feel like a good game. You might have a little bit of mindless fun about it, but like, I mean, it's no Zelda. It's no Pokemon, in my opinion. It's not even a Mega Man. It's no Animal Crossing. What are we doing? Hell, it's not even a Splatoon. I find Splatoon more fun. But anyways, just your resident Mario hater. But I've been playing Nintendo games for a really long time. I've played every single Pokemon game. And to see what it's become now, it feels like a massive spit in the face. So let's take a look at everything that Nintendo did this year.
Before we carry on with that, again, like I said, I've never been a big Nintendo fan. Mario was fun growing up when I was exposed to it, but I've never been interested in ever going back to it or pursuing the game again. And a lot of things that Nintendo have done this year, I've just seen being very negative. I'm interested to hear more about this.
So everything started out to really hit the fan when they released the Switch 2. Switch 2 came out. It barely had any upgrades in comparison to the OLED. It just barely met the base minimum standards for gaming experiences in the big 2025. And aside from the egregious pricing of products, like the Switch 2 being 450, they increased the prices of older consoles to where it made no sense to buy a Switch 1 or an OLED, especially because the OLED was just $50 less than a Nintendo Switch 2. How does this make any sense? How can you interpret this any other way except Nintendo forcing you to rather buy the new console so they can fade Switch 1 and OLED out of existence? How do you see this as anything else? And then they released Mario Kart, which was the only Switch 2 game or new Switch 2 game that came out with its release for $80. Everything else was like 70 plus. And it's all remasters, it's all reworks. It's all games that got converted to run on the Switch 2. So you got to pay $70 extra just to play a game that you've been playing for probably 6 to 7, 8 years. How does this make any sense that you pay so much money for a basic ass racing cartoonish game like Mario Kart? Then there was the game keycard controversy. Instead of traditional cartridges, Nintendo introduced a keycard system for third-party games on the Switch 2. Well done. It's such an anti-consumer move. Ever since physical copies remain more popular and reliable, I hate, even though I use Switch, I hate that I can't own my own copy of a game anymore. That at any point, a game company can just take what I've spent my money on and just take it away forever. This does nothing but incentivize piracy, and Nintendo is completely oblivious to the actual problems that this is going to cause. Every single decision that they make has a ripple effect, and I'm so tired of people ignoring it. They ignore the signs. They think of something now as a small problem, and it's just a small problem. It's not like it's going to expand. It's not like it's going to escalate. It happens every single time. These companies just want to know. They want to test what they can get away with. There's no better proof than that. Than looking at the lack of innovation that Nintendo's done over the past decade. Or, to be more specific, the lack of elevation in what they've innovated. Nintendo established a lot of core things to the gaming industry, and yet they're the only corporation that's improved upon practically nothing. I saw a funny phrase. Nintendo's good at innovation, everyone else is good at elevation. The only things they seem to innovate or elevate on is their shitty practices. Threatening to brick consoles over quote-unquote hacking using non-Nintendo products on your Switch that you paid $450 for. $450. You can't even use a third-party dock. They made Nintendo products with universal equipment somehow exclusive to Nintendo, where yes, the Switch 2 takes USB-C, but it takes a very special USB-C. It takes one that's only good to work on Nintendo because they chipped it. Yeah, like that's not a shitty practice. At least Android had the balls to use something else entirely with their products. Not take an existing thing that probably everybody has, every item uses, and then somehow still F it to make it exclusive to Nintendo. Just the lack of transparencies. It should be enough to signal that they know what they're doing is scummy. They know what they're doing, and they don't communicate it to anybody. Next thing they did this year, they picked a fight with Pal World and Pocket Pair. That to me is still the biggest bullshit I've ever come across. They were so threatened by Pal World's success because Pal World went and Pocket Pair went and made Pal World, a game that Pokemon fans that are not little kids anymore have been asking for years. Over a decade of begging Nintendo, we will give you money, just do something else. make a game like this. And Nintendo refused to because they don't have to do that. They'll still make billions. And yet, when Pocket Pair did it, they were so threatened that they looked for any possible reason, any possible leverage to sue Pal World. So what? You're so angry that a game managed to actually do what you guys don't want to, and it turned a lot of Nintendo and Pokemon fans against you, and you decided to now bully a smaller company? They even changed their patent laws on some things just so that they can have more leverage against Pal World in their lawsuit. That's pathetic. And on that topic, let's go over the most recent thing that they've done that I found out about, and that really just put the nail in the coffin for me. To be honest, I'm done with Nintendo. I truly am done. I kept sitting there and I hoped and I prayed that they would change, that they would do something different, that maybe one day they'll put the player first, they'll put the fun first, instead of making all these different kinds of games to just completely spread across the different markets as quickly as possible with these cheap ass games. I've played Pokemon Unite. I played Pokemon Unite for 3-4 years. Dragon Ball Bandai just released Gekishin Squadra yesterday, and it's infinitely better than Pokemon Unite. The amount of effort and detail in that game is astonishing. Why is it that any game development company can put out a product that's just better than what Nintendo puts out? And now with Pocket Pair and Pal World, they're now being punished for it. But anyways, so Nintendo now has a US patent on summoning characters and making them battle for you. I'm told that this specifically targets the auto battle feature that was introduced in Scarlet and Violet. And some people are making the statement of, so it's not as bad as people think because it doesn't affect games where you take control of the character that's fighting for you. You dumb motherfucker, because there's still a ton of games where you summon a sub character. Note how they use sub character and not creature very specifically, because now in games like Elder Scrolls Elden Ring, where you can use necromancy to summon something for you and fight and engage with something else, that could be seen as patent infringement. And the worst part about patents are they can choose whether or not they want to act upon that patent infringement. And so the patent here says, Nintendo has successfully acquired a US patent on a gameplay mechanic used in other games. As spotted by Games Fray, Nintendo was granted a patent last week which covers the action of summoning another character and making them battle on the player's behalf. Specifically, the patent describes a situation where a console or other system is being used to run a video game from storage. Is that not every single video game on the planet? Is every video game just not? A console or other system is being used to run a video game from storage. The player controls characters in a virtual space. This patent already is so broad and encompasses everything that it's bullshit that they got this approved in the first place. Let's continue. The player can perform an input command to make a sub-character appear, i.e. summon another character. Again, very specific wording. They're saying character when this patent was created in response to a Pokemon game. Creatures. But they say character because, again, that has a broader reach. If there's any enemy where the sub-character appears, the player can control a battle between the sub-character and the enemy. If there are no enemies where the sub-character appears, the sub-character will automatically move around. Does that not just sound like conjuration in Elder Scrolls? So what's going to happen with Elder Scrolls 6? Is Nintendo going to sue Bethesda and Microsoft for this? There's a new Digimon game that looks absolutely amazing. What's going to happen with them? Let's keep going. The player can move the sub-character to a different location on the field, and if an enemy is there, they can control a battle between the sub-character and the enemy. The most obvious example of this patent in action is a Pokemon game where a player can summon a Pokemon and use them to battle other Pokemon on their behalf. It could theoretically be interpreted to cover a number of other games. However, another example could be Nintendo's Pikmin series, where players summon Pikmin by either uprooting them or choosing them from the player's ship and moving them to different locations, triggering fights if they hit an enemy. But you get the basic gist of this article. We're going to have it pasted in the description. It's from videogameschronicle.com. Thanks to them for providing this article. Just allows a clearer picture of what we're actually dealing with here. Aside from that, they already have a patent where you're not allowed to really have mounts or switch between a flying and ground mount, which will cause some problems for the new Honkai Animus game that's coming out. I play Hoyoverse games, and I mean, that game kind of cooked before it even came out. Got other gacha games as well. You got Azure Promelia coming out as well that could be completely screwed, because that's just gacha pal world with anime girls, really. So I don't know. This is gonna reshape the gaming space, and I hate it because the fact that this provides or forces so much limitation on what creativity can actually do in the gaming space. I mean, this is an art form, creating video games, bringing fantasy and ideas to life. I'm sorry, if you're a corporation that makes billions off of people that you claim to be making games for, as if it's not for your own pocket, how can you think it's a good idea to do something like this? How can you think as a consumer that this is okay? And you know what? It doesn't even matter how much people voice themselves, because Nintendo's still gonna succeed at the end of the day. Because they have so much brainless zombie sheep that they will shit in their face and they'll gobble that shit up like, thank you, Nintendo. Oh my god, I like Dragon Knight's Mega Evolution. Stop sucking the dick of these corporations, guys. God damn. Start to demand value for your buck, respect for your time, and your patronage or your support. What's wrong with people?
Problem with this type of patent is what? 80%, maybe not that high, of games have something that Nintendo's put a patent on. I think, stand to be correct with this, but in World of Warcraft, you can summon a mount, whether it's a one that you just ride on the ground or one that you fly, at almost any time or any location. So that's been out for years. So what now? That's a massive corporation, Blizzard. As you say, all those other companies that you mentioned that have something very similar. So what is going to happen now in the future? The nice thing is these companies have got the money behind them to fight this battle. I think Nintendo is just putting this out so that they can target the small up-and-coming companies, which will earn millions from good ideas that's got nothing to do with Nintendo, but will be a threat to Nintendo themselves. So I think that's what is actually going to happen. And the scary thing is these companies, these smaller companies, let's call them indie companies, they're going to be too scared to make games, to make brilliant games, because of the threat that Nintendo has. They literally got them by the balls, if you can say it like that.
So I went on quite a rant, but I want to end this off by saying that I'm really not trying to spread hate, right? Even to you Mario players. Y'all can suck my dick because it's a shitty game, but you enjoy the game. But I'm so angry and frustrated with something that I love so much devolving into something unrecognizable. And again, people are looking at this right now and they're not seeing the bigger issue. This will escalate. If Nintendo can get away with such a generalized patent that affects all of gaming, what won't they do? Who won't they step on? Palworld's just a stepping stone. What's gonna happen when they start suing other companies too? I would love to see a legal battle between Hoyoverse and Nintendo. I know that Nintendo is still the bigger company. Hoyoverse has caught up quite a bit. It's also a billion-dollar company now. They're no better. They do shitty things too, but it would be interesting to see a legal battle between those two. But I'm just taken aback, man. I don't want to spread hate, but there comes a point in time where you just have to stop and think to yourself, how could we let this happen?
And if all the fans had to stand together, which is what this talk is about, then things can change. But we need millions of people to stand in agreement. And there are many creators that are posting and talking about Nintendo, us now being one of them. And who knows, hopefully a lot more people get behind us instead of Nintendo and then want better things from them because they are a good company. They just need to listen.
The Nintendo I knew from my childhood has been gone for a long time, and I finally just accepted it. What's left now is just a massive corporation run by people of old mindsets and people who have become too lax, too overconfident, and too lazy to provide quality products to their consumers anymore. I will always choose the consumer side over the corporation. The amount of people, literally, as the meme says, you leave my $1 million company alone. You leave my $1 billion corporation alone. Keep my $1 billion corporation name out of your mouth. Suck my dick. None of you know it now. A lot of you don't know it. Or a lot of you refuse to acknowledge it. The second you think you've made it is the beginning of the end. Nintendo's complete lax approach to elevating the things they've created and providing quality products will be the cause of its inevitable downfall. At least I'd hope. But y'all are stupid as fuck. So all that's left now is a company that doesn't need to try anymore. They don't need to. Why try? Why try to improve and elevate innovation and take our games to the next level? Why try? They'll slurp up any slop we put out. So thanks, guys. Thank you to the Nintendo community. Thank you to the Pokemon community and every other game under their belt. Thank you for ruining what could have been the best game development company in the world. And now it's just known as one of the greediest.